Hey guys, 10th Gate here. So just coming in with a couple of loon attacks today. The Cycloon, as I like to call it, because it's a bunch of loons doing a cyclone. So check this out. Where do we have this great attack? I think it's this one. Basically, whenever I can manage to 3-star a pretty much max base like this, I'm gonna show it on video. You know what I mean? Because that means it's an attack worthy of war. I'm just doing a raid here, but let's take this one to the drawing board, and I'll show you guys how. Unlock all of yours. Not right now. Okay, so here we go. Look at this base. Everything's maxed out, but this is the ideal base to want to strike with this setup because it's compact, and because I'm relying so heavily on these haste spells. You want to get the most out of them. It goes a long way when everything's compact. I found higher levels of failure on large size bases, but on these bases like this that are kind of circular in nature, the Cycloon works really well. So now notice I did this without the Grand Warden. That's kind of big. Usually you need the Grand Warden, and that's sort of why I wanted to show this one today, because it means the strategy is extremely strong. With the Grand Warden, you can maybe take any base. This base shape is good for this attack, but maybe with the Grand Warden, it'll make those loons go a little bit further. So my strike force consists of the royals, of course. I take giants because I don't have the level 8 giants yet. I'm upgrading them right now, but I take those in my my clan castle. These bowlers for the heavy lifting, and a couple of wizards. That's for the clan castle. Basically, if it's a flying troop, I want these guys in because I'm also going to use my rage on that, and of course the wall breakers. So of course the first thing I'm going to do is look for the AQ. She's right there. She's right next to an AD, you know, because I'm wanting one of these air defenses, and he has a pretty common sort of depth of air defense here, as I've seen. So this one's right next to the queen, and you basically want your strike force to take her down. Sometimes, depending, I might instead go for an eagle artillery or something like that, but usually she's pretty easy to reach, and it's a good move to take her down. Next thing you want to look at is your rage spell. So since I'm going to do it there, I'm going to drop the rage spell probably right there, to make sure that as much as possible gets raged. After which you drop. You're going to drop your strike force in here, so your giants from your clan castle. This is a very easy base, so you're just going to sort of mass everything. But usually on another base, you might use a little finesse and drop like your barbarian king here and your giants here, so they can tank everything that's coming in, and a couple of bowlers on each side. Right. Well, you guys know the drill. That's just down. You have to play that case by case for the finesse on entry. And of course, the idea being you want to carve up as deep into this base as you can. Hopefully, something that looks like that, you know. And obviously taking in the queen and the AD while you're at it. Then the next step is going to be to begin the Cycloon, of course, which we'll let's do it in yellow. So the Cycloon, you're basically going to eyeball the next AD in line and release your hounds. So you're probably going to drop one here, so he can, when he goes in, he'll pick up all of those. You drop one over here, and then I start dropping batches of loons. So say I'll drop them in groups of 5, so maybe loons there, loons there, loons there, loons there. I usually try to only start them on one sort of side of it. Maybe wrap around for a group here, but before you do, you drop that last pup, so he can run towards this, or even towards this. It's okay, either way. Let me just clean this up a little bit. So there you go. You got your loons in there. The next thing you're going to do is with the warden, we also have to play it by ear with the abilities on the king and queen, right? With the warden, you'd have to be watching that as well, so it's a little bit extra work, but it's worth it, obviously. Next thing you're going to do is drop your haste spells, and generally you kind of like. You got 7 of them, so you that as well. You have to play by ear, and I found that probably the most finesse comes from where you choose to put these things, because you see what nice little flower there, but that covers the whole base right there. And once you've done enough of these attacks, you kind of get the flow of how they stay hasted just outside of one, so you don't want to really touch them too much unless there's a critical aspect to consider. And of course, you drop your clone spell on the on whichever group. Now here you have to be careful because the clone spell, probably I'll drop it near the center on the most inward group of loons, because the other loons will be wrapping around in this manner. They'll start in, and when they get here, they'll start doing the big inner cyclone. Outside ring, inside ring. And so I like to have the mass, if I'm going to do that, probably near the center. That carries right through the middle, and the outside ones will have an easier time. Okay, now I don't think anybody can see anymore. So anyways, there you go. That's all there is to it. And then, it's chancy, but with these bases, you want the queen to live. So I'll try to jump in with my hounds right before. Anyways, let's go take a look at how that plays out. I mean, I was impressed that this managed to happen, because usually you can't make these 3 stars, the very close thing, without the Grand Warden. Of course, he does a lot of work. So here we go. There's that rage. There's my king to take that down. I just basically drop all those bowlers, pretty carefree here. Some wall breakers. They don't do the job. A little bit of tension. And finally, they break through. There you go. Activate the king, so he'll clobber the queen. Now I'm starting to look at deploying my hounds, because they've already got the AD down. I think I activated the queen. Now I feel safe to do it. There go my first 2 hounds. You want the hounds to die, right? There go my pockets of loons. 3rd hound is down. Because when the hound's down, of course, they make the pups. And the pups, they sort of, they're the cleanup crew. Okay, so there's my first few hastes mixed in. That clone right in the middle. Now I've basically spread my hastes in a nice sort of crescent half moon there. Pretty condensed base, it's not a problem at all. And it's amazing, you actually don't need any rage for these things. They do such huge damage that the haste basically, it's fast. It's something like 45% or 46%. And there you go. Nothing can harm them anymore. From here on out, it's cleanup. And of course, there you go. See the pups. The worst thing is when you're stuck with a couple of hounds at the end instead of the pups. Sometimes you don't make the timer because the pups do more damage. And they're fast too. So there you go. I didn't even actually hit that base for loot. I hit that base because it looked like a good candidate for the... let's do that one again, okay? It looked like a perfect candidate, and I'm always looking for max bases to different max base styles to try my strategies against to see which is stronger against which, So I've seen loons like this work on a number of different bases, but a compact one like this, not actually so often, thus the movie, the vlog I'm making. So there you go. There's both heroes activated. At this point, you're just hoping the queen lasts, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the loons here. Those pockets, I try to target them down, and you want to do it in pockets like that because it doesn't mean overkill. You don't want them grouping up and to be too many together sometimes, right? Except in the middle. In the middle, you can't have overkill, especially when it's juicy like this. You got to really hammer it. And yeah, that's why the clone is really nice there. And once you get your timing just so, you're going to see where the hounds have to go in. You play around with it a bit. You really got to have that touch. You put a couple of hastes, then you sometimes go back and look at your queen. It gets chancy when you don't use your queen's ability and you actually start the hounds. You got to be watching both things at once. So that takes a bit of finesse. I've messed up a few attacks because of that. The queen ended up dying, and I would have needed her to actually to finish the base. In this case, once you can get down all those things, the loons can actually do it in a timely fashion. So there you go. That's a pretty nice takedown. I mean, for no Grand Warden. Imagine what I can do with the Grand Warden here, is what I'm thinking. Loons are in a strong place right now, and a little bird told me, or I read some expected leak upgrade stuff, that there's going to be some new air troops coming. I don't know if I believe that, because right now air is already so powerful. Let's go check out another another Cyclone I did. This one's one's probably all right. You know, I get these 3 stars. You know. Okay, see, this is kind of a not so strong base, but it's the exact same principle. I mean, this guy is like mid-range 10 with the Eagle Artillery. There's that strike force. This too, by the way, takes a little bit of finessing, because sometimes if you don't funnel well, your stuff goes off on the side. Here comes the hounds. Look at that. This is sloppy, I think. I dropped that 3rd hound by accident. Usually I want him a bit on the flank, but there's my groups of 5. I start dropping some hastes. Good. Now I drop my clone because I see those guys go into the middle, and you know, I want the mass in the middle. Now I'm going to go back to doing hastes. I'm looking for I'm sort of following the pack now and seeing where they're going to need to go. And you play with it when you see where the groups are closest to. Because sometimes you can throw down a haste and it's kind of like you missed it and they went the other way, and it kind of ruins it. Since you're not using rages or heals or freezes even, you got to make those hastes count, right? So basically here we know this is cleanup. See that one, it probably could have had a better placed haste. That last one was barely used. So it's just a lesson learned. And sometimes when it works out perfectly, it's a beautiful thing. Like the first one, the first replay we checked out. You know, that's decent. What is it? It's a TH11, all the same, right? So you know, those it's always that strat pretty much works on a non-circular base. I might deploy the loons in a different fashion. Here's, see the style of base I'm going for. It's always the same thing. This one's got that queen, so of course I go in on the queen and the AD that's right there. Here's the finessing. I put those boulders on the side to sort of try to funnel. Kind of works, except 3 of them go off to the bottom and the other ones barely go in. But with level 45 queen, that doesn't even matter. And the king, of course, he's a monster. He can really hammer through a wall. And there you go. Take down the enemy queen. You start deploying those loons. Queen's down. I actually missed her ability there, so it was a bit sloppy. Doesn't stop me though, because this base is not maxed weaponry, so not bad either. Here comes those hastes. Probably looking for my clone opportunity here. Probably right in the middle right there. Whoa, am I super late on it? There it is. Wow, right over the Eagle Artillery. I don't know what I was doing there, you know. I do admit this was a bit of a sloppy one. See, oh, that's right. That's exactly what happened. See, right in the middle there, I had 2 hastes right on top of each other. I think I hit it by accident, you know. Fat fingers, you know. I have the stylus here, you know. I used to play sometimes, but sometimes. Oh, you know what? I remember this raid. I was actually eating. I had a what do you call it? Falafel sandwich in one hand while I was playing this one. So there you go, you know, stylus and falafel sandwich. Cyclone, sloppy but still plays out, you know. Anyways, guys, check this strategy out, you know. Don't be ashamed to play with it or afraid to play with it, and let me know if you guys come up with some better ideas. But right now, this play right here, this comp, is working really well for me. My Grand Warden, you know, look at that, 1 hour 7 minutes. He'll be back. I never gem these guys, but he's going to be level 16 with the a 4.5 second timer of immunity for my loons. Anyways, you know what? Why don't we do a live attack right now, since I don't do these videos too much? Let's see if we can find a 3-star while we're at it, right? Do I have everything I need? Yeah, everybody's ready to go. Hold on, I'll just gem this guy for you guys. I'm low on gems, you know. I'll be the first to admit it. But now, let's see, set to air. I gotta make sure. You know, you want him set to air for sure. Yeah, look at that. That would have been a terrible. I also like to put him on guard so he doesn't get have a timer put on him. I'm a 10.5, right? So this looks like a pretty decent base to try. Let's see where the queen is. The loot's not hot on it, and I don't like. You see, he's got that crenellation or whatever in his wall with the cannon in it that would get in my way of a clean deployment. This one looks like it's doable, but his loot's no good, you know. We gotta have some standards here. I'm gonna tackle, I'm gonna look for as juicy a base as I can that's doable with this before I commit. Where's the queen? Okay. Sometimes I like to look for a 2-for-1 in terms of 2 ADs with the strike to begin with. You can find some sloppy bases. This looks like a pretty fair base to try. See that circular shape? You can get in close with your drop zones, with your loon drop zones. Level 41 queen on the side there. This is going to be chancy, but let's try it because I think I've got that Grand Warden, and he goes a long way. So let's check this out. All right, so let's go there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Put the queen 2. Put that rage down right there. Some wall breakers. There they go. All right, let's watch for those. Let's watch and see with the king and queen what we need to do. Look at that. The dude's got a full. I'm gonna activate the king now. Queen, we need you in the middle. We need you post haste. There she is. All right, it's gonna be her against the world. I'm just gonna flash her now, and let's start with. See, we're gonna have to actually play this. Put this guy with those guys. Last squad here. Then start deploying the hastes. Probably tuck one in the middle there. One over here. I'm going to use his ability now. Go for that clone in the middle. Not bad. Oh, top side haste. Hopefully that plays out. And here's the last one's got to be there. And now we wait and see. Not bad. Not bad. All the AD are down. Lovely. Pops are flying. Jeez, look at that mass of loons, man. See, the clone doesn't last the whole battle. I don't know what it is, 30 seconds? Look at that, they're blinking out. Cheap. But the clone spell is way OP right now, actually. There you go. This looks like a 3-star to me. Nice. See, it's now that I got that Grand Warden, it's like a piece of cake, right? So for war, you know, I'm about to go back and do some war soon. Maybe I'll wait after the update. This Grand Warden is a beast. Like, I'm so happy with him. I'm gonna have to keep upgrading him to 20 though, you know. I gotta have him 20 before I go start playing wars again. We might not make the timer on this. They're all traveling in a pack here. Yeah, anyways, if you saw that Cyclone, right? It's just like, for some reason, that seems to be the best way to play this. I've tried it, you know, a line of troops on the side, flanking maneuvers with the loons. Something about keeping them in groups of 4 or 5 is ideal. Like 5 loons in 4 packs seems to really work with the clone, because one of those packs will enter a clone spell, and you'll basically but actually it's interesting, even if only 1 loon enters the clone spell, it'll create like 6 or 7 loons. They'll pop up all from that 1 loon entering it, so you have a little bit of like see, look at this, it's a pretty close call, but you know, no problem for those pups. That's why you gotta have those pups. Anyways guys, that's pretty nice. So check it out, try that Cycloon out, see what you think, let me know. Alright, peace out.